Hello guys, welcome to another video of Terraform. In this video, we are going to discuss about Terraform deployment workflow. Okay, we'll be discussing all the steps which we do while deploying the Terraform configuration file in detail with examples and use cases as well. Okay, this is important if you are preparing for Terraform interview because most of the organization or most of the interviewers nowadays ask about the Terraform workflow which you might have been following inside your organization. Okay, so we'll be discussing that in detail, what you can answer that in interview and what is the basic Terraform deployment workflow followed by most of the organizations. So let's begin the video. Let me start by just briefly discussing about the Terraform. What is Terraform? This is open source infrastructure as code tool, also called IAC tool, developed by HashiCorp. Okay, this automates the provisioning of infrastructure across multiple cloud providers. This is the advantage of Terraform. You can configure your infra across multiple clouds like Azure, AWS, GCP, Oracle, or any other cloud as well using the Terraform. If you are using some native IAC language, then you don't get this feature. Like for Azure, you can use Azure Bicep or ARM templates. For AWS, you can use CloudFormation. But in case of Terraform, this works with all the cloud providers. So this is one of the advantages you get with the Terraform. Declarative approach, you define what needs to be done and Terraform handles the process. Okay, just you'll have to write the configuration file for the resources you want to create and Terraform will take care of creating that resource. Okay, this is the example provisioning an infrastructure environment in AWS or in any other cloud as well. This is the process. We write the configuration file. Generally, we do that using SQL language and we write .tf files. Okay, for the configuration file and variables, we write it as .tf vars inside the Terraform. You can use modules to organize and reuse your code. I already have discussed about Terraform modules in my previous Terraform videos. You can go and watch that. This is the example of one of the configuration. Like this is about creating the AWS instance. You can create like you can provide this resource block, resource name, and other things along with all the properties. So let's now discuss about the first step of Terraform workflow. Generally, Terraform workflow consists of Terraform init command, Terraform plan command, and Terraform apply command in most of the organizations. But some of the organizations also run Terraform validate to validate their configuration file. But in most of the cases, it will be Terraform init, Terraform plan, and Terraform apply. So let me first discuss the initialize Terraform tasks. That is nothing but Terraform init command. So Terraform init command sets up the environment. It will download necessary providers. For example, if you are using Azure RM provider, you are using provider for AWS or Azure API, then whatever provider you might have configured inside your configuration file, it will go ahead and download all the providers so that they can be used in the deployment. Okay. Along with this will also initialize the working directory where your current working directory is there for your Terraform configuration file, and it will also initialize your backend details. Backend details is nothing but the state file details, like you might have stored your state file in the remote backend, right? So it will initialize that. It will check for that your state file is available there or not. Okay. Example command like Terraform init. You can run Terraform init to initialize your Terraform. You can supply other arguments as well according to your requirement, but if you just simply run Terraform init, that will also work. Okay, once you run the Terraform init, this will also lock your Terraform state file. This is one of the advantages you get while using the Terraform. Whenever state file is locked in the remote backend, no other person or no other computer will be able to make the changes inside your Terraform configuration file. This will just make sure that nobody else is modifying your state file when you are doing the changes. Okay, so that your deployment will not fail, or your deployment will pass successfully. Okay, and once your Terraform apply is complete, it will release the log automatically. Okay, so in the Terraform init command, we also just apply the log. For you, what are the use cases for this command? Preparing Terraform deployment. So basically, it will prepare your Terraform configuration file and your Terraform deployment so that you can create your resources later in the cloud. Once initialize is done, we run the Terraform plan command. With the Terraform plan, you can preview the changes. You can see what are the changes you are making, what are the resources will be created, what resources will be destroyed, or what resources will be updated if you run the Terraform apply command with the configuration which you have created. Okay, this also shows what Terraform will create, modify, or destroy. Example command Terraform plan use cases to validate the infrastructure changes. You can validate it or you can review it before making the changes in any of the environments. That can be your dev, QA, or production environment. Okay, and you can also add the approvers if you are doing it via pipelines. You can add the approvers so that once Terraform plan is successful, approvers should review it. Then only they should review and approve the deployment. Once Terraform plan is done, finally we run the Terraform apply command to apply the configuration. Okay, this Terraform apply provisions the infrastructure. So this will basically do three things. First, it will apply the or it will create the resources in the cloud. Whatever resources or whatever changes you have shown in Terraform plan command, it will go ahead and create them in the cloud. That can be Azure, AWS, or any other cloud. Okay, along with that, it will also go ahead and once Terraform apply is done, once all the resources are created, in this step only Terraform apply or step only Terraform will go ahead and release the log which was applied in the or which was created in the Terraform init command. Okay, so once resources is created, your release will be logged so that whenever some new developer or someone else is trying to run the Terraform with the same state file, they will be able to run it successfully. Okay, their pipeline or their command will not fail. This automatically creates updates or delete resources whatever you might have seen in the plan. Basically, it will execute your plan whatever you have seen in the previous step. That is the in the plan configuration step. What is the command? Simply run Terraform apply command. Of course, if you have some arguments, like if you have to pass some variables, you can supply that in the arguments. I have already discussed this in my previous videos. You can go ahead and watch them. What are the use cases deploying AWS resource with the Terraform? So we discussed we first need to initialize the Terraform whenever you want to deploy your Terraform. After that, you need to plan it. Once plan is done, you can review that and you can apply the configuration to make the changes using the Terraform. So these are the basic Terraform workflow generally we follow inside the organizations. Or if you are if interviewer is asking about this workflow inside for your Terraform interview, you can just provide the same answer like the answer which we discussed about the workflow which we discussed. What is the workflow? First run Terraform init command that will initialize the workflow. After that we run Terraform plan command which will preview the changes using that Terraform plan, and after plan Terraform apply will just apply the changes in the cloud. So this is the workflow generally we follow in the Terraform. After that, Terraform maintains a state file, terraform.tstate. This tracks real world infrastructure versus configuration. So it will just match the real world infrastructure along with the configuration file, and it will suggest the changes like what is different between your configuration and the infrastructure. Okay, so suppose you have 5 virtual machines inside your state file and you are adding one another virtual machine, that is the sixth one. So a real one, your state file will not have the sixth virtual machine, right? But your configuration file will have. So Terraform plan will check that and it will suggest you that sixth virtual machine will be created. And if you run Terraform apply command, the new virtual machine will be created in the cloud. Supports remote state storage like S3, Azure Blob. You can create the S3 bucket or storage accounts in Azure to store your remote uh, state files. What are the use cases? You can achieve team collaboration with remote state storage because multiple teams or multiple developers can work using the same state file if that is stored in the remote. Once that apply is complete or your testing is complete and your project is complete, you can go ahead and destroy the infrastructure with your Terraform command as well. You can run Terraform Destroy so that it will remove all the resources created by Terraform Apply in the previous step. Okay, ensure proper deprovisioning of resources. It will deprovision all the resources that can be your parent resource, child resource, or any other resource which might have created using the Terraform. To run this, we simply run Terraform Destroy command. It will destroy all of the resources created by this configuration file and the state file. What are the use cases? Deleting AWS resources after project completion. Once your project is completed, you can delete all the resources which you might have created. Okay, so you can simply follow this workflow or structure. If you want to create the resources using the Terraform, just first develop your configuration file, write your configuration file. To deploy that, simply run Terraform init command. This will initialize the workflow, initialize the backend, and download the resource providers. After that, you can run Terraform validate or Terraform plan so that you can validate your configuration file. And with Terraform plan, you can preview the changes. What are the changes will be made if you run the Terraform apply command. And once if you have reviewed the changes, you can run Terraform apply command so that this will go ahead and create the resources in the cloud. Okay, your resource, your environment is ready. You have deployed your application and everything is done. You have tested that as well. So you might need to destroy the infra as well because this will cost you unnecessarily, so that you can run Terraform destroy command as well to destroy or to delete all the resources created using the Terraform. Okay, so these are the workflows we follow inside your Terraform. This is the example use case. Deploying three-tier architecture with Terraform, managing security groups, auto-scaling and databases, automating scaling based on demand, use cases, full AWS deployment. These are some of the best practices. If you are using Terraform, use remote backend for state management so that multiple developers or multiple people from your team can work with the same state file. Implement version control for configuration so that multiple people can make the changes inside your version control, and you will be able to deploy your resources with pipelines directly from the version control. Follow modular design principle. Make sure you are writing all the configuration file in the modules so that multiple people can use that, or that can be reusable. You just need to call the module and pass the parameters inside that. Use workspaces for managing different environments. You can use different types of workspaces to manage the environments. Like you might want to create a dev workspace for your development environment, QA for your QA, and production for prod. Okay. Finally, Terraform simplifies infrastructure management. You can use this to create your resources, infra resources in multiple clouds like AWS, Azure, GCP, and others. Automates provisioning across AWS, Azure, and more, which we discussed already. You can try the Terraform for your next project. That's it from this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe my channel. If you have any feedback or suggestions, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.